Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And for the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. And that's just a sampling. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. For laptops, mobile phones, and tablets, download the Roku app. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Welcome to the Professional Sports Show, as some of your favorite national streaming sports hosts get together, analyzing sports, and have a lot of fun. Right off the rip, guys, which rendition of that is better? Is it the original with Aerosmith, or is it with Aerosmith? And I'm trying to remember who rapped it in there. Was it our Ron DMC?
I can't even believe that's a question.
I'm not gonna lie, I like both, and it's just really hard to. I mean, the first one, original song is great, but I mean, coming up as a kid, I used to take my Adidas off and raise them in the air, man, because of Run DMC.
Same album,
Yeah.
My Adidas.
See, I told you before the show. There it is, y'all. There it is. He earned that name we talked about. He earned it. I felt that soul all day. By the way, Mac, look, did you see how Keith disappeared and tried to come back on? So I'll be moved all the way to the right. Thank you.
I can get out again if you want to move around.
Keith wanted to get far away from you. Keith wanted to get far away from you as he could.
Just hit the wrong button. That's all. It's nothing personal.
We all can't do that.
Yeah, I disagree when I like the Run DMC version.
Can't you rearrange it? Can't you pull the group back?
I grew up. I grew up in the 70s. Well, that's when my teenage years. So Aerosmith was probably in their heyday, and they made a little comeback later in the 80s and early 90s, I think. But that was when they were in the head day, Dream On, Walk This Way, and that. So I do kind of favor that. But I think Ron DMC did a heck of a job with it, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
right?
I like Run
DMC. So anyway, me too. Let's talk a little bit about sports. The Major League Baseball Hall of Fame has inducted 3 people into the Hall of Fame: Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner. First of all, on those 3 guys, does anybody have any problems with any of those 3 getting in?
No.
I think the only problem is, why is Ichiro not unanimous?
Exactly.
100%.
That one dude, like, what is wrong with that one guy?
There's always one guy who says, I can't vote for you on the first year. That's stupid. If you're a Hall of Famer now, next year you're a Hall of Famer now. So
Exactly.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know a lot about baseball, but I heard that name all the time, and I knew this guy was just a hitter. And did he get 3,000? He get 3,000 hits?
he did.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, and
3,000 MLB.
You should automatically be able to get in. What's the waiting period? It's not like a trial and error. It's crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
you
it's
know
not
what?
like anybody saw him on a ballot and was like, that guy shouldn't get
I
it.
think
But you can. There's about 40 guys who could probably maybe not 40, but Mo Rivera. I love Mo Rivera, but there's no way he should have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer. I mean, how is Aaron and Mays and these guys not unanimous inductees?
I mean, Mays was okay.
All of them.
But you see, like, I think it's that mindset, which is why we've seen like Ichiro, Derek Jeter, Ken Griffey Jr. not be unanimous. Is, well, if Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron and Willie Mays weren't unanimous, then why do these guys get to be? And I think we just got to get past that mindset.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, they do not make public the writers' names, and from what I understand, I've read about it before. They were worried at one time getting death threats and all this stuff, so that's why they don't publicize it. But if you're going to vote, I think you should be able to stand up there as a writer and say, "This is who I voted for," and I think that should be part of being a voter for the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, if you're not going to stand by what you vote for, and whether we agree with it or not, I mean, this is why I did what I did. And I think every voter should be publicized. You don't have to publicize their home address, publicize something else, but at least get their name in there and who they work for and stuff like that, right? I would imagine.
I mean,
that would be
guys like Sheffield and Omar Vizquel out. I mean, you're talking about guys that were double-digit Gold Glove winners that hit the cover off the ball also, and somehow you're like, oh yeah, it's been 10 years. Sorry, you're not going to make it. It's like, what?
Well, and that's my thing
Do
too.
you think these guys talk to each other? Good.
Imagine the clicks you would get if you are the writer who comes out and says, yeah, I'm the guy that decided I didn't want to let Ichiro win unanimously. This is the reason why. You are getting traffic to your website, to your page all day long. So if you're going to do it, at least own it. Like, there's always some good publicity with bad publicity. I think any publicity is good, right? So at least be that guy. Like, give us a reason why you decided you wanted to be the one person to say, nah, he's not worth being in unanimously.
I mean, Skip Bayless made an entire career out of that.
for sure. I was going to say that name for sure.
Do you think these guys talk to each other? The Hall of Fame voters. Do you think they call each other and talk to each other, discuss who they're gonna put in, who they're not gonna put in?
Oh, you think they
panel they probably do.
paper scissors for who's going to be the douche that holds them out?
Kind of like jury duty.
Right.
It's like a secret indictment. It's an indictment and it's jury duty. You still got to release the names at some point.
Right.
I think that they might not know how to use technology, so I like to picture them just writing long form letters to one another.
Yes.
That's very possible. Two people that didn't get in. Go ahead.
Quick on the anonymous part. They have the option to make themselves public, by the way. I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe, the Hall of Fame committee voted almost unanimously to make it public. But then then they changed it to say you can be public or you can leave yourself anonymous if you want to. So this guy could come forward if he chooses to. And some are. The New York Post released all of their writers that voted for the Hall of Fame, who they voted for. So do the right thing. Make yourself known.
Like, it was me.
I think right. The guy would probably be better off to do it.
Hey, you know what? And if you're that guy, I hope he comes out and is just like name on the back.
Right?
It was me. MLB.
Dog.
I hope he comes out in a fake jacket I hope he comes out in a fake Japanese accent. That's what I want him to do. You know,
Yeah, he's associated with Shohei Ohtani. He's his manager's BFF.
Yeah, I'm going to go with he didn't do that.
Have a translator there.
Any
problem?
Getting death threats in that moment.
That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Exactly. All right. So
exactly.
So we have two.
It's taking a weird turn.
We have two. We have two players that didn't get in that maybe should have got in. Carlos Beltran, associated, they call him a cheater. There are some cheaters that are already in the Hall of Fame. Carlos Beltran had a pretty good career. I know he had over 400 home runs, 500 doubles, stole 300-something bases, had a pretty good career. Keith, I'm going to come to you because I know how you feel about certain things. MLB and cheating and this stuff, sometimes you kind of put your foot down on. What do you think about Carlos Beltran not getting it?
And he's a Patriots fan, so there you go.
Well, I'm on record. I'm on record as saying the Astros scandal is one of the most overrated scandals in the history of sports. So Carlos Beltran is 100% a Hall of Famer. And it should be in, and he will get in. Nobody's ever gotten 70% of the vote without getting into the Hall of Fame eventually, and he will. For sure, get in my mind. I don't think this scandal will keep him or Altuve or any of these guys out of the Hall of Fame, and nor should it. If we're going to clean it up, you want to clean all the people who cheated or attempted to cheat or whatever, then we're going to empty out a lot of the players out of the Hall of Fame. So,
well, wait. I got a question. So how do you, again, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I try to keep up. I know that name, but what did he do? Or was he accused of?
They were stealing signs during the 2017-18 season.
Gotcha.
And again, everybody, just like every other scandal we talk about, every team is doing the same stuff, and some people take it to another level. They get caught, or they do it better, or they win more, and people don't like it. So you can find something on anybody in the world of sports you want to find something on.
I'm telling you, Keith is the main one to talk to about that. Like, he has a balance because he's had to defend and prosecute.
He's got this whole book of cheating.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it's not like they took a baseball and cleaned the fleece out the inside and re-sewed it up.
I'm pretty.
My question is, why couldn't the Barry Bonds? If you guys feel like this about this guy, why couldn't the Barry Bonds be in?
Barry Bonds should be in.
Yeah, it's the juicing end of it. That's the problem.
Come on, no. Because Barry Bonds never failed to correct this, right? Like if David Ortiz can be in there, then if he's associated with
Pete Rose should have been in there.
Let's look at Barry Bonds' career before the big head Barry Bonds. Let's look at the big head Barry Bonds.
Before he ever did. Right.
The thing is the people that were found out that were juicing that were already in, they weren't removing them from it. They were blocking guys that hadn't got in yet.
Oh.
And so the speculation of Barry Bonds hurts his ability to get in because people are they're in their minds, they know he did it. But
I think part of it is his personality too. I think he just wasn't great with the media as well.
And
I mean, that's why Pete Rose isn't in, is because he's a jerk.
Right.
Like if he wasn't a jerk, he probably would have found his way into the Hall. But because he would double down on being a douche his entire life, they're just like, yeah, there's no way. Like posthumously, he probably gets in, but while he's alive, there's no way.
How do you feel about P. Rose, Bo? It's not coming through to me how you feel about P. Rose.
No, the guy is wrong.
But he 100% should be in the Hall.
No, yes,
right? 100% should be in there. But I mean, his attitude is why he's not in there. Honestly, that's probably why Sheffield isn't in there.
If we can have people like
Sheffield really legit needs to be in there. I'm a Sheffield fan.
Wow.
There's a couple guys who deserve to be in here that didn't. It's not just Beltran. Andrew Jones is the best defensive center fielder I've seen in my 65 years on this planet. And he could hit a little bit. His first 10 years, he was a dominant player in the game, and he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Manny should be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I don't know if he's the best center fielder, I don't know if he's the best center fielder. I mean, you're going to have to talk about Ken Griffey Jr. and a few other center fielders, but he is one of the top ones. I agree with that. I agree he should be in the Hall of Fame. We don't hold defense in the same amount, in the same category as we do offense, right? We don't say, well, this guy has 8, 10 gold gloves, so but his batting average is only 200, right? We don't use that anymore, and I think they should start doing that. I definitely do.
And if they did, Omar Vizquel would be a Hall of Famer right now, right? Like, he was one of the greatest.
100%.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and it's funny because he actually still hit pretty well.
Yeah.
So it's not even like he had a bad batting average. Like, he hit pretty well and won like 11 gold gloves. Like, I don't know what more you wanted that guy to do.
Ozzie Smith. He had Ozzie Smith's career, except he didn't get in the Hall of Fame.
And my whole issue is if you can have guys like
Ozzie Smith.
If you can have guys like Three Finger Mordecai Brown in the Hall of Fame, why can't we have Barry Bonds? Like Three Finger Mordecai Brown has like 40 wins to his name.
Maybe it's the name alone got him in there.
I mean, it's a Hall of Fame name. Don't get me wrong. Back in the day, whenever your nickname was your disability, like that was that was amazing. Well, we got to do like you.
You're afraid they're gonna get a spell cast on him if they didn't put him in there.
But you can't tell the story of baseball history without like Joe Jackson, without Pete Rose, without Barry Bonds, without Roger Clemens. Like, you need those guys in the Hall of Fame to tell the story about baseball.
And you tell their story, warts and all. That's what I keep saying. Steroids guys, gambling guys, put them all in there and put on their plaque, they cheated baseball. Put it whatever you want on it, but they belong in the Hall of Fame.
So here's the thing. So
listen,
who were those guys? Who were those guys juiced up hitting against? Oh, juiced up pitchers.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
We don't know who did it and who didn't. So
that's a great point. Great point.
Well, and I always talk about this with like the people that were on the Mitchell report. You have Fernando Vina, who retired with 29 career home runs as someone who did steroids. That shows you the difference of players that did steroids. And Fernando Vina was like a 9-year vet.
Great reference to Fernando Vina. Great.
I mean, look at Manny.
Right? Like, how far did you dig for that one?
Manny Ramirez. Who was a better? I mean, you talk about Gary Sheffield. Who was more impactful hitter than Manny Ramirez for the Boston Red Sox? Maybe the best right-handed hitter in the history. You could argue that, and this, and he's not in. It's very, to me, it's very opinionated, and to me, you got to take that out. I suggest you have a bar. You have some kind of bar, some kind of rule. If you get 3,000 hits, you're in. If you get 500 home runs, you're in. If you get 200 something pitching wins, because you'll never get 300 again. If you get, say, 250 wins, you're in. And I think that would, at least you would have something to gauge. Right now, there's nothing to gauge. It's all opinion to me.
But then you might eliminate guys who had shorter careers, which some guys had short careers and belong in there now. I mean, I can make an argument Donnie Mattingly belongs in there. He was one of the dominant players for nearly a 10-year period, and he doesn't get a sniff. So that's why I'm against putting those types of benchmarks in. We see it in other places. College football's got these silly rules, and some coaches who are great coaches won't get in because they didn't coach long enough.
But I will rebuttal that, Keith, and say that, like, with the NFL, you do have some players like Gale Sayers and Terrell Davis had short careers, but they were highly impactful, and they got into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but if there was some benchmark you had to gain 10,000 yards rushing, then Gale Sayers would be eliminated, right? So
right.
Yeah, that's why I don't
want to be the thing too, right? Like, you would have people like Fred McGriff that wouldn't be allowed in, like Andres Galarraga, like real names. Trust me, like, I can name off 1980s, 1990s baseball players like nothing, guys. This is my wheelhouse. Just baseball.
Yeah, I'm not doubting you.
Oh wow!
But like, to me, like, it passes the eye test, right? If it looks like a Hall of Famer, it plays like a Hall of Famer. It's a damn Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I mean, it should come down to impact, right? But some people do get in based on longevity.
But what you have baseball writers who think they know everything that are voted on it. It's not us saying if he looks like one or plays like one. And I understand the longevity issue, But I mean, certain circumstances you can make an adjustment for. If this guy got hurt, like Don Mattingly got hurt, that's why he didn't play that long. It wasn't because he decided to quit. He got that injury, or who knows what he would have done. So,
well,
I mean, there are certain circumstances that you can take into consideration.
Mac, if he quit, Mac, actually, when he hurt his back, he probably would have had a better chance of getting the Hall of Fame than by keeping playing, and his numbers went down for the last 5 or 6 years of his career. So, yeah, there's a lot of subjectivity. There is too much subjectivity. There's guys who don't even watch a game all year long who are able to vote. That's a problem. That's a problem.
I agree. So let's get to the college football. We'll wrap that up. The national championship, Ohio State beats Notre Dame 34-23. Will Howard has a good game, passing for 2 touchdowns. The running back Leonard gets 2 touchdowns. Future star wide receiver Jemiah Smith, 88 yards and 1 TD. That dude is playing like a pro football wide receiver already. Next year he's going to be up in the first round. I guarantee if he comes out. Notre Dame comes back in the second half, 21-7. Riley has a good game, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. 1 rushing touchdown, and Jaden Green had a good game for the Fighting Irish. But for another year, Notre Dame gets to the big dance and can't get it done.
I mean, but Coach Day gets a chance to have his people unpack all the stuff that they were pre-packing all week, because his house, I guarantee you, was probably in the pre-packing phase, because he's had death threats and his job has been in jeopardy. So Ohio State had to pull it out this year. This was the make it or break it season. And so they had everybody from Yelp and everybody from Home Depot that helps out down there packing up his house all week. So now they are spending the weekend not celebrating the championship, but unpacking. I mean, he can live in peace. Congratulations to Ryan Day.
He can live in peace till he loses to Michigan next year, and then we're right back in the same place.
They can't take it.
Another thing, guys, that score was not indicative of how bad that blowout really was. Let's be clear. There was a few times I blanked out into sleep. Honestly, I didn't realize I had passed out into sleep. I was tired. And
then you missed a good second half because Notre Dame made some adjustments and actually made a ball game of this. Made it a 1-score game, and I don't know why Marcus Freeman's kicking a field goal down 16 with 10 minutes left in the game. I have no idea, or whatever it was.
Yeah, he was.
But they did listen. Ohio State, and we said before the game, had the talent, and it showed. They're faster, they're bigger, they're stronger, and talent wins out. Talent doesn't always win out. It did Monday night.
Talent wins out, Keith, when you got $20 million to create a roster.
That's a good point.
And you're getting death threats. You want to live another day and you don't want to lose your job. So he's dying by the job or dying physically, because those fans were outside his house last year.
Mac, that receiver's there for another 2 more years. He was a true freshman. So he's got to play 2 more seasons there.
It's funny what 3 weeks does, though. Right? Because, I mean, if they'd lost to Tennessee, Day's getting fired, right?
Yep.
Like,
no, without a doubt.
Then 3 weeks later, he wins a ring. They're like, oh, he's amazing. He's the best we've ever had. Like Jesus 3 weeks.
That's what they do. Jesus Jr. As soon as they're winning, you're Jesus Jr. Yep. When you're losing, you're Satan Spawn, Right. And they would have fired him at the Golden Corral after the game if they lost to Tennessee. While the team was up there fixing their plates from buffet, they would have been calling him to the side and letting him know that his items were being packed up from the tour bus.
I mean, they might have sent him to Notre Dame's locker room. They would have been like, we're going to mail you your stuff. You can catch their bus.
Get on Spirit Airlines. You're not even getting a flight back.
Well, let's be honest here. Notre Dame, I think Ohio State had the 3rd most NIL money in the league. Notre Dame had the 7th. Notre Dame was in that. It's not like Notre Dame didn't get no NIL money. I mean, they did for the quarterback, for some of their linemen. I mean, it's not like Notre Dame didn't touch NIL money. And I'm saying they're 7th in the country. So let's not just say Ohio State's doing it. There are quite a few teams doing it. Ohio State just played better than most of the teams this year.
And that's the thing, right? Is like NIL is going to get you to the dance. And at the end of the day, it's about, again, who's bigger, who's stronger, who's faster. In Ohio State, I mean, Sonia's right. Like, it was not a game. I know it came down to one possession and all this other stuff. It was not a game. At no point in that game, Keith, did you think Notre Dame's going to pull this off?
I disagree. I disagree, Tip. I'm sorry, because on the Ohio State's last drive where they kicked the field goal, they had 3rd and long, and if they had gotten off the field, Notre Dame would have gotten the ball with a chance to tie that game with 4 minutes left. But they completed a long pass down the field, and the game was over.
Yeah.
So I don't agree necessarily there was never a game. It should have been.
Maybe the first 5 minutes, it might have been a game when it was like no score.
Now, at halftime, you were thinking, man, do I just turn this thing off? Like, this is
21-7. It was like, wow. Come on, what's going on?
Two in the fourth quarter.
Am I the only one who stayed up to watch the whole game? Because they had stopped with 4 minutes.
What I was going to say is they made some very real adjustments. So in the second half, it became
real.
Like it actually became interesting again, because that second quarter, man, like the first quarter, it was close, right? It was 7-7 for most of it. And then you're like, okay, we got a battle going. And then the second quarter came alive and you're like, oh, I guess this thing's over. And, but like you guys, I knew I was going to have to talk about it the next day. So I'm like, all right, I guess I have to watch this thing. So at least they made it a game that made it worth watching.
Yeah, I was in the chat with J Train and Fern, who's an Ohio State fan, and Kevin from Friday with the Fellas, and they literally were the only reason why I knew what was going on, because I'm telling y'all, I had not slept, and I literally passed out sitting there watching it and came to with like 1 minute 30 seconds left in the game.
Yep, by then it was over.
I thought it was a decent. Listen. It wasn't a blowout, right? It was a decent game. I thought Ohio State would win before the game, even though I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. And I think what happened, I thought would happen, but at least it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't 35-7 or something ridiculous. So, I'll give Notre Dame their due for that. But to me, you get to the big dance, and you're Notre Dame, and listen, not only NIL money, they're getting $20 million for themselves for going there. I mean, Notre Dame makes a lot of money, folks. Don't think they don't. So that $20 million goes to Notre Dame, where Ohio State has to split it amongst the Big Ten. So anyway,
Mac,
let's talk a little bit about the NFL. Yes.
Just a real quick question. Who is your baseball team? I'm just trying to see if you like any teams that win.
Right. He's a Giants fan. It all spawns off of that.
I'm a New York guy. My dad's from New York. So I like the Giants.
It's got to be the Mets.
The Yankees, the Knicks. Not the Mets. I mean, I don't mind the Mets. I mean, that's okay.
No, I was just going with the Giants and Notre Dame, and I imagine it's the Knicks. Which you don't like to win, so I was figuring it had to be the Mets, right? Like,
I mean, it doesn't even. You don't even have to win like consecutive.
Bo,
winning 2 teams.
Don't get me wrong.
I'll put the Giants Super Bowls up against. I'll put the Giants Super Bowls up against your Seattle Seahawks Super Bowls any day of the year. So if that's what you want to talk. So anyway, and the Yankees World Series against your Seattle Mariners baseball team too. So
he is. I mean, like 80. Oh wow!
So let's talk a little bit.
Oh, I'm not worried about it.
The clapback is real.
Super Bowl.
Would you say, Keith?
Yes.
He beat the best team in football twice in the Super Bowl. So I mean,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I was saying, I don't know if you guys saw the interview Mac did with me yesterday. He was down on Bryce, and just all we won was 2 games, so he just doesn't like winners. Period.
Where's Mike? Can I
share in here? Here we go.
I mean, you guys go back and look at the video and see if what she's saying is true. I still think Bryce is not a franchise quarterback, no, but he'll be good. He'll be all right. He'll be a good quarterback.
See.
So let's talk a little bit about the championship game coming up. We got the Redskins playing the Eagles at Philadelphia. Let's see. Can the rookie, the future rookie of the year, can he do it one more time? Can he outscore the Eagles? Because we know the Eagles are going to run the ball, and run it again. And can he light up the Eagles secondary? Can he run against the defense? I think he can. Can he beat the Eagles? Different question. What do you guys think about that game coming up?
I think I was going to wait for everybody, but I think yes. I think that they can, as long as the defense for the Commanders keep double coverage on Saquon and isolate him, that they can annihilate the threat. All they need to do is keep Saquon isolated from the rest of that run game, and the Commanders have a legit chance. Okay, you guys can shake your head all you want. Every game I've told you guys this season, I've been what? Right. I'll line up a whole bunch of clips from this whole season.
Not every game, sis.
Wait a minute. We fool around. Wait. We fool around a lot. We fool around here a lot on the show. But honesty is true. Right now, Sonia, you're 0-6 in your picks. So don't tell me how right you've been on all your picks. I'm just
not the picks.
0-6.
I told you guys
every week who's going to win. Okay.
You said, look, Sonia, you said he can, and that is a possibility. This is what I'm going to tell you. That's what I've seen as facts. The run defense of the Commanders is ranked 30th. Yep. Even in the winning effort against Detroit, they gave up 205 yards, and that's against Detroit. So Saquon Barkley and Gatewell and also the quarterback Jalen Hurts has the best offensive line, arguably, in football. It's going to be tough to stop them, and they're playing at home. So I'm not saying that I'm a huge fan of Jaden Daniels. I like the fact that he made it this far. He has an opportunity to win, but history has shown that any rookie quarterback that has made it to the finals, the conference finals, they're 0-5. They're 0-5.
They love Detroit, who was the number one seed in Detroit. So it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying they're going to have a hard. They got to stop. Again, they gave up 200.
Yeah, I know it's going to be easy.
I mean, the thing, if they're going to do it, one of the things they're going to have to do is score first. Like, they got to come out and score early because it's something that the Eagles struggle to do, right? The first quarter is not a great quarter for the Eagles. So if Washington's going to do it, they're going to need to get up on them.
Yep. That's exactly.
They're going to need to make Hurts actually beat them with their
the last one.
So for me, this is like a
game
nightmare
that they played.
scenario.
Washington came from behind to beat the Eagles. I'm gonna double up what Sonia says here. I don't care about the last 5 rookies didn't make it to the championship. Jaden Daniels isn't one of those rookies, right? This is a new year. This is a new quarterback. It's a different team. So we'll I don't believe in all that past nonsense. I don't believe in it. I do think yes. Listen, I do think that Washington can outscore the Eagles. They could.
Amen, Mac. Amen, brother.
Sorry, Tip.
Well, what about the run defense?
So, I mean, it also, I guess we're just going to overlook the fact that Eagles have the fewest yards allowed per game, the second fewest air yards per game, the second lowest points per game given up on defense. So I feel like, I know we're not looking at history, but that's pretty recent history because that's this season. And their run defense, if you want to say their running game is bad or is good, they're still top 10 in run defense. Like, you have the number 1 overall defense in the Eagles, and even if you say, hey, they didn't meet anybody hard, well, who they did meet was who was on their schedule. And that's what they put those numbers up against. So, and it's not like they're unfamiliar with these guys. They've seen them before. They know how to play them.
2 times.
So this is a nightmare scenario for me as a Cowboys fan because I want like an asteroid to hit Earth as this game is being played because I just don't want either of these teams.
I know that's right. Nice.
But you gotta I'm gonna go more than just like there's the possibility. I think Washington's gonna win this game.
Yep.
Because I want the chaos. I want what happens in Philadelphia following a loss in an NFC championship game to Nick Sirianni, right? I need that in my veins. Inject it, man. But Philadelphia, to me, like whenever you watch the game against the Rams, right? Let's not forget, this is a team that was up 13 points with 5 minutes left and almost gave away this game.
Exactly, Tip. Thank you. Preach, brother.
So it's not like they're this unstoppable force on defense.
Exactly.
Like they do have some chinks in the armor. And I think Washington, they're playing with house money. There's no pressure on them. All the pressure's on Philadelphia. And it's going to be up to Philadelphia to perform. And if they don't, in my veins, I need that chaos.
Well, that's the thing, right? You're doing this in the
Super Bowl before. You guys forget, Dan Quinn is experienced with the Super Bowl. This is not
He
his
sure is at 28-3, right?
8-3 is lost, by the way.
He was at 28-3.
If you forgot.
He's trying to build his own new memory of the Super Bowl. He's tired of the 28-3. This is his redemptive run. He wants it all, and he's gonna get it.
I mean, he did get a ring in Seattle.
Yeah, Dan Quinn, not as the head coach.
Yeah,
He was a defensive coordinator, yeah.
Yeah,
coordinator don't count. This is different. You know that.
You realize that's actually not his job, right?
Didn't Nick Sirianni also lose the Super Bowl?
Yes, he did.
Right?
Preach,
You're talking about the coach of Washington. Didn't Nick Sirianni?
He didn't blow 20.
He lost the Super Bowl too. So
yeah, Mac, you having Wednesday night Bible study over here. Preach, brother.
They had a shot at winning.
I would say this also, we have recent memory of Philadelphia having an 11-1 record last year, barely making it to the playoffs and getting stomped right out.
Tampa Bay stomped them up out of it.
But what have they done this season, though, Tip? What have they done this season?
All I'm saying is that's a fragile team.
Exactly.
They're fragile now. Last year.
They've been fragile. That's all they are.
Oh no! Now I hear the Dallas Cowboys fan coming out.
Cowboys stuff coming out.
Train is derailing J Train.
All I'm saying. Look what happens to this team. Look what happens to this team if they lose. Just like Detroit, right? Like we're not putting enough on Detroit. Detroit losing, making me happy as a Cowboys fan because we got all this talk about this is what a good franchise looks like. Really? That's a good franchise, huh? Nice.
I'm still grieving about Detroit. I'm still grieving about that. But
I am here to drink tears. I was drinking the tears.
Buffalo.
This is 100% a Cowboys fan just mad that someone in his division is hanging a banner on him.
I've said it all year long. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. I want the Eagles to lose
now you
the
don't
Super
went
Bowl
far left
in
now,
overtime, the most heartbreaking way possible.
No, NFC gonna take this one. If it's not, then it's gonna be the Bills. Chiefs about to get this.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Buffalo Kansas City game. It's right now, from what I read, it's a pick. Buffalo beat Kansas City in the regular season. They're going to Kansas City. Him and as they play the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and the referees. So we'll see who wins that game. I'm not sure. Everybody's got picks to win that game.
They are cheating.
Yes.
Keith, you're defending him because you've been caught up in your own
conversation people can have in today's social media nonsense about fixing games.
It's because you've been there, Keith. That's
Everybody's a hater. Let me show you something. Let me see if I can show you something, because this is what everybody needs to freaking read and learn, because it's absolutely 100% true.
That looks about right?
Yeah, that looks about right. You're just defending him because you've been there, Keith. You're used to cheating.
No, you know why? Because here's the thing. I'm a sports fan. People hate winners. It's well documented.
Oh my God!
People hate winners. You hate winners.
Let me interject here, Keith.
One more thing. If I thought this league was fixed and it was WWE, I wouldn't freaking watch 1 second of it.
Let me tell you, even Tom Brady as the announcer was on there other day talking about you have to win these things. can't buy this. Dude, he know what he did.
Can I finish speaking, please? I'm tired of getting shouted down here, by the way. And you can mute me right when I'm done. Because I'm not commenting. I'm not commenting one more time on one more of these shows about the Chiefs and referees because it's bullshit. And I'm done.
Ooh.
Every single show I go to brings up the same crap. Social media brings up the same crap. Nobody can just enjoy a great team. And I'm a Patriots fan. I don't want them to win 3 in a row, but they're going to. You know why? They know how to win football games. End of story. That's all it is.
Keith, I gotta ask you, Keith. I gotta ask you. Do you think those calls were right or not?
Right.
2 things.
No. I need you to answer that question. Were they right or were they not?
That question in the chat with you and a chat with a bunch of people during the game. I bet Kansas City. They were horrible calls. Bad refereeing doesn't equal fixed and scripted football. I'm sorry.
But I will say on those calls, 10 points were 10-point shift.
That guy's refereed every single game of the Chiefs' 15 wins this year. That guy.
Clay
Well,
Martin.
so the thing is
Super Bowls.
there does tend to be a little bit of disparity when you get the eye test of the
when
way
you're good, you get calls. That's another fact in football and sports. When you're good, you get calls. That's just the way it works. Your team gets better, you'll get calls. That's how sports works.
Well, excuse me. Let me interject. When Cam Newton was getting hit bunches of times, the whole league was talking about how
he
Cam
never got calls.
Cam was being hit more than any quarterback, and it was during the season we were undefeated. He didn't get the calls, so clearly it's not always.
What do you want me to tell you? You're never going to convince me anything is fixed against any team in this league or for any team in this league ever.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl,
I don't agree with the fix. I agree with you that it's not fixed, but I will say those calls did sway the game in a different direction with 10 points.
Okay,
10 points.
So
10 points to give it on those 2 particular calls. They continue to drive. They continue to drive, Keith. They continue to drive.
That safety barbecued everybody's parlays.
And that's what I'm going to say. Okay, so
actually, it didn't because I got him at 8.5. So why fix a game that isn't 9.5 for everybody? I bet it is.
He be the referee of the Patriots. Now he's moved over to the Chiefs. That's why Keith is
bullshit.
so gung-ho about
Bullshit.
it.
Welcome, your Kansas City Chiefs, brought to you by Draft.
Keith turned red over there. Keith is like, wait a deep minute.
Guys,
every team, any good ever.
Guys.
Waiting for this minute for about 5 days.
Thank you. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game.
You started it, by the way, Mac. Just
you got Buffalo. You got Buffalo. I didn't start it. Did I start it?
And the referee.
But anyway,
I feel like you hit Buffalo? Go live on this show. This is all your fault.
Not go live.
with Josh Allen.
I need
right. You guys can laugh at me. That's good. At least you're not.
Pop's blood pressure pill right now.
Kansas City. I would think Kansas City has a little bit better defense than Buffalo's. Would you all agree with that? I would think they got a better running defense and maybe even a better passing defense than Buffalo.
Yeah, I would.
I say yes.
I think Buffalo's got a better passing defense. That's just a good passing defense, I would say. I would say that. I would think that Patrick Mahomes and the offensive line is a little weaker. And, it's outside. It's the tackles. Inside, they got a pretty good line. Buffalo's got a pretty good offensive line, I think, all the way straight through. I think this is an even game. I really do. I wanted KC to win everything in the beginning. I kind of want Buffalo to win now. I want to see them get their doing, at least get to the Super Bowl. I would love to see them do that again. So that's my thoughts on the game anyway. So I would be looking for a Buffalo versus Washington Super Bowl, which would screw everybody up, and I would love that.
I would love it too. That's what I'm going for.
Well, at the beginning of the season, I picked Kansas City versus Philadelphia.
Yeah, you did. Like
there's at least two. There's at least two roughing the passers in this game.
We just got everything calmed down,
Oh, yeah.
Bo.
Maybe
I'm just over here with gasoline all the time.
Keith is about to ignite over there.
So
what do you guys think about?
I'm waiting for his color to come
What do you
back.
guys? Okay.
About the game. Kansas City's going to win. Kansas City's defense has been underrated in both these Super Bowl wins, by the way. Kansas City's offense will not win this game. If Buffalo scores 28 points, Kansas City will lose. That's my prediction there. I don't think that'll happen. I think Kansas City wins this game 2017, something like that. There'll probably be, I'm sure there'll be at least one bad call in the game, and we will, go through the same argument again here next week.
5 bad calls.
Keeps these shows alive.
Those games happen in every single game. Those plays happen in every single game in the NFL, but that's besides the point. Anyway, there's my prediction for you. 20-17 Chiefs.
Keith, I'm glad you brought up like the Chiefs defense. I think they're, like you said, they're vastly underrated. And that's like going back to the Houston game, right? You can't win a game if you score 12 points. Right? Like a quarter of your point or a portion of your points were scored by the other team by just them running out of the end zone. You're not going to win games that way. So that's the same thing with Kansas or with Buffalo. You have to be able to put points on the Kansas City Chiefs and force their offense to actually do something. Because if this offense can win games scoring 17 points, why the hell would they want to score more? Why would they need to score more? You have to put that defense in peril, and it's just not going to happen. And I agree with you, Keith. There's no such thing as scripting in the NFL, because if they did, the Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl every day.
Good phrase. That's an excellent point.
Which one will, Yoli?
Keith, I can't wait for TGI Sports next episode. Tonight.
It's gonna be one long beep.
Listen, I've had explode. This is the first time I've exploded on a show besides mine about this topic. So
you're gonna lose your monetization, Keith. Be careful.
That's all right.
I just like that the rest of the panel is like, go.
How do you guys? How do you guys feel about Aaron Glenn? Aaron Glenn being the new head coach of the Jets. What are your thoughts on that? Aaron Glenn going back to the Jets, played there as a cornerback, defensive back, right?
Yeah, he was drafted. He was drafted there.
I think it's not a bad choice. I think he's a good defense.
Look, I think
I'm a little surprised the Jets
with him. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm surprised they went the coordinator route again. They've gone this way, I don't know, 4 or 5 times in a row, and it's failed to get them a Super Bowl or to a Super Bowl. I thought they might go with a more established coach this time, but again, if they're going to take one, Aaron Glenn has got a pedigree as a coordinator, and we'll see if that plays out. It often doesn't.
That team's going to be interesting to watch, though, because I'm curious what they're going to do with the roster now. Right? Are they blowing this thing up and they're like, you're our guy for the next 5 years? Are we going to build this right? Or are we just going to keep throwing Flex Seal on all the holes?
To me, the common denominator is what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Because, he's no different than Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, they both were great defensive coordinators. They're coming in trying to coach a team, but, the relationship between the quarterback and the head coach seemed to be the issue. Can he come in and do his job without having any issues with Aaron Rodgers? Or if Aaron Rodgers is going to be on a team and they go get another quarterback? I don't know what the situation is there.
Have y'all ever watched your friend during a late night drinking?
I really don't think. I don't think that the Jets have. I don't think the Jets have a lot of holes. I think the Jets on paper are pretty talented. They got a talented roster. I think the problem was in the locker. And Aaron, and that's what you need. You need a person who's a little bit more aggressive in the locker room to straighten that out. I would take their wide receivers. I take both their running backs. I take most of their defensive players. I might even take Aaron Rodgers if I had a bad team. They have a talented team. It's the chemistry that was a problem last year. They need somebody that can go in there and straighten that chemistry out.
But it's got to be with Aaron Rodgers. He was mostly the problem.
Yeah,
he's toxic.
And the thing is you're going to lose receivers too. You're going to lose a lot of these pieces coming into this next year. So I understand this year on paper it looked good. You're not wrong, especially when you look at how bad they performed. But he's not going to get this year's roster in his first year. He realistically isn't going to have Rodgers. right? He's going to have whatever he ends up with. His receivers are going to be gone, right?
Yeah, because let me tell you.
So you think Rodgers is gone?
Anybody that comes to New York, as long as Pansy Aaron Rodgers is there, they need a short-term deal. I'm talking about rent to own. They don't even need a real deal. Yeah, because he's gonna get you fired.
Well, like I was saying, like you look at Aaron Glenn and you look at this this marriage that he now has with the Jets, and you kind of think to yourselves like, this ain't gonna work. No matter what, he's in a lose-lose situation because one, like Bo said, there's going to be a lot of roster turnover. There's a lot of other stuff like that, and let's not forget, they're the effing Jets. They will find a way to ruin this man's career, and he's going to go the Robert Saleh route of just, I'll be here for a couple of years. The owners are good to me, and the Jets are going to continue to be the Jets because that's what the Jets do.
So then the question is, they have a 7th overall. Who should he draft?
I would trade it
down.
down.
Answer for that. Like realistically, they should probably actually trade back and amass some extra.
They should get Scatterboo if he comes into the draft.
You have
yes, they need a running back.
You had a fourth round.
Okay,
he's going about the fourth.
Scatterboo is a 4th or 5th round player.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
It'd be nice to have. I'd want him, but he's not going to go early.
No, he's a day 3 guy.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He's just not fast enough. I mean, he's great. He's all around great player.
I guess Dallas, he just looked better.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing that's funny is he'll vastly outperform where he gets drafted, but his type of player gets drafted late. It just, unfortunately, it's how it goes down because they look at the numbers instead of actually watching what happens on the field.
Good point.
In a way, that actually helps.
So the Dallas Cowboys special teams coordinator, the Dallas special teams coach left for Tennessee, a worse team. And the Cowboys, of course, don't have a head coach yet. I've heard they're talking to the former coach or a coach on the team right now. A lot of different coaches. The question to me is, when will Dallas hire a head coach? Are they going to wait till after the draft? Since, I mean, Jerry Jones is the one who does the drafting for the most part. How long does Dallas wait before they get a head coach?
About as long as it takes me to finish this bottle.
Tonight.
Because
that's my God. I saw you a few times during the show.
Jerry Jones is going to be just drunken on the sidelines himself. Like that's how Jerry Jones is going to be the next Cowboys head coach. I mean, Bo asked the question, is it a worse team? No. Like right now, just jump off the ship. All the buckets of water, you're just trying to throw them off. It's sinking. Like, even me as a fan, like, I have zero hopes and zero expectations. Just have fun, guys. That's all. Like,
let me do your press announcement. I've announced that I'm not only owner of the Dallas Cowboys, I'm not going to be head coach. And I decided to throw my hat in the ring and see if we had a chance because it can't get any worse, boys. Go Cowboys.
Hey, sometimes you got to call your own number.
You guys got to Google. You got to Google the deep fake that was done of Jerry Jones talking about Mike McCarthy leaving. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Their new head coach is 82 years old and he's drunk off of Jim Beam Blue or Johnny Walker Blue. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Check out my monkey show. Check out my monkey show. That's what he was talking about.
That's funny.
I hate that I love that team.
Mac, what about Ben Johnson?
So we all know that Marvin Harrison Jr. Was the first draft pick going to the Arizona Cardinals. Didn't have as good a year as they thought he would have. The 3 wide receivers that ended up making it to the all rookie team were Thomas, McConkey, and Neighbors. You would have thought with a quarterback, I mean, the Giants quarterback situation was missing. There was who was a starting quarterback. Some games it was this one, some games it was that one, and they're not that good. You would have thought that, with having an experienced quarterback there, Kyler Murray, that he would have had a better season maybe than than the Giants' neighbors, or even really the Chargers, which is a running team. You would thought he might have had a better season than McConkey, and he didn't. Is it Kyler Murray? Is it the way the Cardinals run their offense? Is it that Marvin Harrison is as good as we thought he was?
So it's that second one. It was kind of like the way Atlanta used Bijan, or rather didn't, right? Like you have this dynamic player, and then for some reason your playbook, you're just like, yeah, let's just not use this guy. I mean, so there would be games where he would have, he'd go off for a quarter, have almost 100 yards, a couple of TDs, and then would be gone the rest of the game. And I don't mean gone like, he's a decoy, like not on the field. What are we doing? It's hard to win any kind of rookie team awards if you're not out there. So now there were plenty of times that he was out there and Kyler just wasn't looking for him. But I mean, the way they designed plays, he wasn't in a lot of those plays.
Shout out to LSU for being the wide receiver having 4 wide receivers in the top 7 this year. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
Man, look, I think it's just a matter of having the best player on the field. And I mean, look, Brian Thomas Jr. played for the worst team in the Jags. So, and he still got his numbers. I mean, he even have his number 1 quarterback. So I don't know. Look, I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not saying he's overrated. I just think that there's a way, if that's your guy, you're going to utilize him. I don't know what the situation is and what's going on. You need to make sure he gets the ball. He's a playmaker. I don't know if he's not demanding the ball or whatever, but it just didn't happen. Like Max said, it just didn't show.
He had like 10 games with 6 or less targets, I think, or something like that. So yeah, I still think he'll be as good or better than most of those guys on that rookie.
Sure.
It's just going to take a little longer.
I mean, are we completely ruling out the possibility that Kyler Murray just couldn't see him?
There's that possibility too.
He's getting his eyes checked during the offseason.
No, he means his height. He's like 5'10".
Now, you know what it is. He's not part of his Call of Duty team. So,
or his Madden squad.
If you're on the Call of Duty team, you're going to get more targets next year.
Hey, if you're the one going first through the door, I'm throwing you the ball.
Oh my goodness.
All right, folks, we're coming to the top of the hour here where the show's coming to end. I want to leave you with one last thing. UConn head coach, as the referee turns his back on him, says, "What are you doing to turn your back on me? I'm the best coach in the effing sport." Okay. And so the ref can't turn his back on him because you're a good coach. That was kind of crazy.
Danny Hurley has no lack of confidence in his own ability, and that's been the case for a long time. He's challenged referees. He's challenged people in the stands. It's just his personality. I don't think it's any real big deal. But
shout out to his brother Bobby Duke, Bobby Hurley, Sacramento.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you can't argue what he said.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
he's got the
Folks, have a
skin
great
on the
one.
ball.
Thanks for joining us.
He's won 2 straight championships, so he's probably right about what he said. It's
Yes. Might be. Folks, thanks for joining us. Glad you could join us tonight on one of the best, funnest shows on the internet. We'll see you soon.